The 1996-97 George Washington men's basketball team started its season with a lot of promise. 3 formidable starters from last year's squad were back with another year of experience under their belts, and promising young talent filled the Colonials roster. The season started much as expected. Consecutive wins over Holy Cross and Boston University in George Washington's own Red Auerbach Colonial Classic and a win over South Florida got the team off to a good start. The win over Boston University was especially meaningful to Coach Jarvis, who spent 5 seasons coaching the Terriers. Mike Jarvis has been the fire and drive of the George Washington men's basketball team since his arrival here in 1990. The Colonials quickly improved under his leadership and have appeared in 3 NCAA tournaments, including their first in 32 years. Jarvis's record stands at 128-81 in 7 seasons at GW. In each of those seasons, the team has finished above 500. Mike is a terrific 229 and 132 overall in 12 years of coaching, and he has never coached a team to a losing record. The team suffered its first setback of the season at home against Texas Tech. The 84-75 loss was the first for the Colonials at Smith Center since the 94-95 season. But not overlooked in the defeat was the dominating play of GW's All-America candidate Alexander Kuhl. Sasha scored 28 points and hauled down 11 rebounds, but Alexander would soon become the main target in everyone's defense. Usually double and often triple teamed, Kuhl's scoring numbers dropped off as the season progressed, and he finished the year averaging 14.5 points a game, but still shot 60% from the field to lead the Atlantic 10 Conference and finish 7th in the nation. He also pulled down 7.8 rebounds a game and blocked 40 shots to set a new school record with 146 blocks for his career. The Colonials bounced back with an impressive victory against crosstown rival American University. In that game, sophomore Yegor Masharikov scored a game-high 18 points and established himself as a legitimate scoring threat to be reckoned with the rest of the season. And Yegor did not disappoint. He ended up being the team's leading scorer with a 16.6 points per game average. He also grabbed over 6 rebounds a game to finish second on the team in that category. Masharikov's ability to score inside and on the perimeter made him a double threat and double duty to all who tried to guard him. In the Franklin National Bank Classic at USA Arena in early December, GW easily beat Mississippi State in the semifinals and then took on Maryland in the championship game. The Colonials were ranked 25th at the time and quickly jumped to an early lead. But the Terps rallied behind Keith Booth and won a hard-fought 74-68 victory. GW started the Atlantic 10 season on January 4th against Fordham at home. The Colonials raced out to a 28-point halftime lead and never looked back, running away with an 86-66 victory. Shante Rogers paced the team with 24 points and was the high man on the glass as well, hauling down 8 rebounds. He was the constant spark that ignited this team. In just his second season at GW, Rogers led the team in assists, steals, free throw percentage, was 3rd in scoring and in rebounding, and was a threat to hit the 3-point basket as well. His cat-like quickness was a constant nemesis to opposing point guards. After the Fordham game, the team traveled north to St. Bonaventure, where they battled a raging snowstorm and the Bonnies. On this trip, however, the elements came out on top, as St. Bonaventure won this one 74-63. Next, it was on to Duquesne, where the Colonials' Russian connection of Kuhl and Masharikov were too much for the Dukes to handle at once. Kuhl scored 26 points on 11 of 16 shooting and grabbed 9 rebounds, while Masharikov added 17 points on 8 of 10 shooting and 8 rebounds, as GW easily won 69-55. The Colonials return home to take on St. Joseph's 4 days later in a game that seemed to set the tone for the rest of the season. GW moved out to a 7-point lead at the half by holding the Hawks to 22% shooting, but the Colonials' own shooting went cold in the second half, and St. Joe's rallied for a last-second 55-53 victory. Next on the docket was a trip to Dayton, Ohio in a game against the Dayton Flyers. The Colonials easily shook off the St. Joseph's loss and trounced the Flyers 59-38. Defense was the name of the game as GW held Dayton to just 4 field goals and 20% shooting in the first half. Once again, Kuhl and Masharikov dominated play by scoring 19 and 18 points respectively. Kuhl added 13 boards and Yegor hit a pair of 3-pointers. Shante Rogers pitched in with 11 points, including 3 3-point baskets. For Rogers, it was the 10th game out of 14 that he had scored in double figures. It was beginning to become evident that for the Colonials to be successful, the trio of Kuhl, Masharikov, and Rogers had to have strong games each time out. On January 23rd, the Atlantic 10 West leading Xavier Musketeers came to Smith Center for a showdown with the Colonials. In one of the most thrilling games of the year, a packed house witnessed these two teams go toe-to-toe for a full 40 minutes. Alexander Kuhl led all scorers with 20 points, but unfortunately for GW fans, when the smoke had cleared, Xavier had escaped with a 62-61 victory. 2 days later, LaSalle came exploring the Smith Center with the conference's leading scorer, freshman Donnie Carr. But Carr was introduced to GW's secret defensive weapon, Andrei Krivonos. Krivonos, a sophomore from Belarus, shut Carr down by forcing him into 5 of 23 shooting and only 2 of 11 from behind the three-point arc. Offensively, the Colonials got 21 points and a career-high 16 rebounds from Kuhl and 16 points from Masharikov as they held off the pesky Explorers 56-52 for their 9th win of the season. Krivonos' main job all year long was to guard the opposing team's top scorer, and his efforts were paramount in leading the Colonials to the 3rd best defense in the entire conference. The team gave up only 63.7 points per game and held opponents to just 41% shooting from the floor. GW played its 3rd consecutive home game on January 30th against UMass, a rivalry that has been simmering to a boil over the last few years. This one was another nail-biter as the Minutemen shot a sizzling 60% from the floor in the second half to prevail 68-63. It was the Colonials' 3rd straight game decided by 5 points or less, and their 4th of the last 5. It would also not be their last. GW's next 3 games would be decided by 5 points or fewer. A heart-stopping overtime win in LaSalle, in which Andrei Krivonos made an amazing tip-in at the end of regulation to force the extra period, and Yegor Masharikov poured in a career-high 31 points. A loss at the buzzer at Virginia Tech, and a nerve-wracking victory over Old Dominion were the other games. After a loss at Xavier on February 15th, the Colonials had played 11 conference games and had a 5-6 record, 11-10 overall. But what made it so incredible was that they had gone win-loss, win-loss, win-loss in the last 12 games, never able to reel off 3 or 4 wins in a row, but never losing more than 1 at a time either. The team was very resilient, always giving it their all, looking to make a final push for the postseason and Atlantic 10 tournament positioning. There were 6 games left against some of the toughest teams in the conference. GW got it started right with a 90-56 shellacking of Duquesne at home. Then on February 20th on national TV, the Colonials ripped Virginia Tech 69-52 to win consecutive games for the first time since December 8th. The team had gained much-needed confidence with only 3 games to go, but had to go to Temple to face the Owls. The Colonials came out flat and were never able to recover, losing by 12. A tough loss on the road against Rhode Island on senior night gave GW consecutive losses for the first time since late December, but the team gathered itself once more for the final regular season game on March 1st against Dayton. With a 500 conference record on the line, the Colonials came out and shot 54% from the field in the first half, then made 19 of 24 free throws in the second half to beat the Flyers 71-57. It was also senior day at Smith Center, and the team honored Ferdinand Williams. Ferd had his best year ever in 96-97, starting a career-high 8 games, scoring more points than he ever had in a season, coming off the bench to play more minutes than in any other season in his career, and being the team's inspirational leader, not to mention a fan favorite. Ferd will be missed. The Colonials had finished the regular season with an 8-8 conference record, good enough for second place in the A-10 West and a first-round bye in the conference tournament. GW took on UMass in the quarterfinals on March 6th. The Minutemen had finished the regular season strong and were in good position to make the NCAA tournament. The Colonials were looking to get even after that tough loss at Smith Center. The game was tied at 30 at halftime, but the Colonials held UMass to just 21% shooting in the second half and sent the Minutemen packing 58-49. Yegor Masharikov led all scorers with 25 points on 10 of 15 shooting and grabbed a game-high 11 rebounds. GW's fortunes ran out in the next round against the eventual tournament champion St. Joe's, but Yegor Masharikov had another strong game and was named to the all-tournament team. The team would soon be given new life when the NIT called and invited the Colonials to play in their tournament. GW would take on Michigan State on March 12th in East Lansing, Michigan. Once again, a slow start put the team behind the 8 ball, and even a furious second-half rally was not enough as the season came to an end with a 65-50 loss. The 1996-97 season was a roller coaster ride that never seemed to level off. Among the bright spots was sophomore forward J.J. Braid. JJ got off to a slow start, but ended up having a strong second half of the season, upping his scoring average by nearly a point over last season, and giving the team a slashing, penetrating presence on the court, and giving the fans lots of extra excitement. When Mike Jarvis wanted a three-point shooting threat on the court, he turned to Seiko Camara. The 6'5 sophomore from Lisbon, Portugal, could loft rainbow jumpers with the best of them. Junior Darren Green spent much of the year hampered by a bothersome knee injury, but was still available for Coach Jarvis off the bench, giving critical minutes while others rested. Rasheed Hazard did a nice job as the backup point guard, giving Shante Rogers a blow when needed and keeping the offense ticking. Others making contributions included freshman forward Francisco Di Miranda from the Netherlands, freshman guard Jackson Payne, and freshman guard Kinte Smith, who missed 11 games with a stress fracture in his hip. The 96-97 Colonials never gave up in the face of adversity, continued to forge ahead when things looked bleak, a strong reflection of their coach, who constantly felt that better things were just around the corner, if only you would take the necessary steps to look. And looking on to 97-98, he's probably right.